Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Leached On, a podcast where I'm leached onto a certain topic for 15 minutes or more. Now recently I've been listening to a lot of Theo Vaughn. He's got me a lot. I can thank him for the style of today's episode, just kind of like covering a bunch of different topics. I know I love to be leached on one topic, but once in a while I like to break the fourth wall a little bit and just see, talk a little bit of everything. And man, I've been going through it. A lot of people who listen to this know me personally, and I think it's just I feel very comfortable on my podcast to admit something like this, but I've been going through it this year. This whole year, 2024 has been a good hell for me. Hell in a lot of aspects. Hell in everything I worked for. The coming down of it hit me this year. Hit me in every way, shape, or form I could have thought of. Tons of internal struggles, and the reoccurring message that I need to learn how to love myself comes back up this year. It was just like, damn, I thought I was doing so good. Like, if you listen to all my older podcast episodes, I was really confident. I was sure of who I was. I didn't fucking care if the shit I posted was embarrassing or if I went out in public and just being myself. Sometimes I'd get, I've been told I was weird, and I was like, well, fucking yeah, I am weird. That's just who I am. And it was a lot more easier for me to embrace who I was, and I always thought it was going to be that way because it's always been easy for me, going through. A lot of people start to learn that when they hit high school, and in an odd way, I started losing it during high school. I became insecure. I became jealous. I self-sabotaged a good friendship of mine. I self-sabotaged a relationship. I went through one hell of a breakup this year. And at the end of it, I constantly beat myself up about it. And it's like, yeah, it's one thing to be self-aware and understand, yeah, I wasn't perfect. I did do some things wrong, and there's some things I could have done better. But it's like, at the end of the day, it's over. It's over. Whether they ended things, I ended things, it was mutual, it's over. And when you get into the more deep thoughts about it, especially since, Lord, does my mind like to think a lot, but, then you start to wonder, okay, well, I don't know who I am. Do I know what I deserve? Oh, this person said I deserve this. Like, do I really? Are they right? Are they wrong? Should I listen to them? Should I not? And then picking up these patterns of people pleasing really got my ass this year as well, becoming a person based off of what other people said about me. And I think you can really notice it in my labels episode when I said that I'm very flexible and I can be whoever. I don't like saying who I am because I like people to let that be up to them. Why the fuck would I say something like that? Like, I think if I heard somebody else say that in public, I'd make a podcast episode of how that person's wrong, how you shouldn't do something like that. You shouldn't let your idea of self be put in others' hands, because that's when you lose yourself. That's when you end up taking whatever you can, like the famous quote from Perks of Being a Wallflower. We accept the love we think we deserve. And when you have a low self-value, you don't think you deserve much. You think you can just take in whatever's thrown at you, or, you go after someone and they turn out to have circumstances that you usually don't deal with. If you're in a low state of mind at that time, or, you're running off a big high, you're going to think that you can handle it. Therefore, you're accepting a love you think that you deserve. People with higher standards and that stick to those high standards, they accept love that they know they deserve. It's not even that they think. They know that they deserve it, and that's how their relationships stay healthy. And, it is everybody's first time living. You should be patient with everyone you interact with. You should be able to forgive. But that also goes with yourself. Just as it's people's first time living, it's your first time living too. You got to be nice to yourself. And it's not like technically, I'm not going to sit here and say you don't love yourself, because I'm sure that you get up in the morning, brush your teeth. I'm sure you still work to put a little food in your stomach, or maybe a lot of food, or, eat till you're satisfied. I know that you still, if you work, I know you still show up to your job. If you go to school, I know you still show up to school. It's not really the matter of fact of, oh, well, you don't love yourself. It's just, do you know yourself? And it's not even do you know your name, it's do you know what you value? Do you know what you deserve? Because when you let those questions be answered by other people, you're fucked. You really are fucked. You're fucked until you lose all those people and you're in a depth by yourself and you are sitting there in a black hole with a pen and paper, and those questions are on that paper. And for you to get out of that hole, you have to be able to answer that confidently and correctly based off of your intuition, and trust that what you put on that paper is nothing but the truth. And I'm very grateful to have an amazing support system of friends. Although things like a lot of personal things still come down to my efforts and my determination and how far I go. Yes, I can, sit and rant to my friends all day long, but at the end of the day, it's what am I doing to better myself? And it's not better myself in my looks or even something as my confidence. It's bettering myself image. Bettering that when somebody looks at me, they're not going to see me as what I previously was. They're going to see me for who I am. That I built myself brick by brick. That the person I am now, I can confidently say, yeah, I worked to get here. And I struggled with that this year to admit who I was. In an odd way, something in my gut felt guilty and arrogant for putting out who I was. It's like, why would I think such a fucking thing? Why would it be arrogant to be who I am? And it's because I surrounded myself around a bit of arrogant people, and I seen how they can easily lie about the type of people they are. And it's like, why are you gonna lie? Just be yourself. I clicked with you because you were yourself and you were raw, and then as you started to lose yourself, I started to lose myself because that's what I was around. And it was just like, yeah, I can't blame them, I should have done better. But now being able to separate myself from those people, it's like, holy fuck, I was losing myself just as you were as well. And it's sad because I had to lose them to understand that. Most people would be able to understand, oh, shit, I'm not being myself. That's a little weird. Let me see what's different or what I can change to bring back myself. It's like I lost in touch with a lot of originals I had with myself. I lost in touch with what really my hobbies were and how I spent a lot of time in them. I never let myself be by myself. I had constantly set myself to be busy, to be with people. I never gave myself a break. I didn't think I deserved a break. And it's like, okay, well, if I'm already fucking thinking that way, then definitely people can do whatever they want to me and I'm going to just accept it. Because if I can't even give myself a break, I'm definitely going to be able to take whatever people throw at me because, fuck it, I just need to keep working at that point. And that's not right. That is not right. And, with losing a bunch of stuff, I get hit with a lot of serious, thoughts. I'm starting to realize that, breakups fucking suck. And the breakups suck even worse when you were at a low during the relationship. That, yes, you were still loving them, but it's like you were also losing yourself loving them. And is that their fault? No. At least in my case, it wasn't. I truly cannot blame anyone but myself for letting myself get into a relationship knowing that it would have destroyed me, knowing that it was such a different relationship than ones I usually put myself in, that I knew that the elephant in the room that was in this relationship that wasn't in plenty of others was going to fuck me over in the long run. As much as my mind was racing of how much I should do it and I should go for it, I still had that little voice that was like, hey, you don't usually do this. Why are we doing it all of a sudden? And then I had that other fucking voice on my shoulder saying, well, you know what? This person really deserves your kindness. You're full of it. They're not a bad person. They have really good intentions for you. They're into you. I'm sure it'll work out. This fucking false hope was just biting and gnawing at my ear, telling me that, oh, no, you can handle it. You're strong enough for this. Just be patient. You got it. When have I ever fucking been patient? One, I'm pretty impatient. I'm not even gonna lie. But it's like something in me kept telling myself that what I had to offer was good for this person. And that may be true. That this person that I just got out of a relationship was the kindest person I've been in a relationship with. No toxicness, no abuse, nothing that, you could point a finger and be like, oh, well, fuck you. I have a reason to hate you. There was no reason for me to hate that person. It was just, people call it right person, wrong time. People call it wasn't meant to be. Only thing I can just say is that I let myself get into a relationship when I was low, and I'm seeing the outcome of it. I balled in a lot of things. I was insecure. I got jealous easily. I didn't know how to communicate properly. What the fuck? Like, I'm known for fucking communicating, and I'm in a relationship and I can't even fucking do it. It's like, what the fuck was wrong with me? You know, like, that's my big niche. That's what I'm known for, is being able to communicate so well, better than a lot of other people my age, and I couldn't even fucking do it in a relationship. And it's just like, wow. Like, I never thought that I would be with a good person and do something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like disappointed within yourself. And fuck, I'm gonna just tell you one thing. With how you perceive yourself, it reflects on everybody else, and that is so true. That is so true. Because I was so unhappy with myself and disappointed that I self-sabotaged a lot of good stuff I had going for me. I took bare minimums I really shouldn't have. I let myself pursue things that I ended up at the end saying, well, maybe it would have been a lot better if I never did it in the first place. And it's sad that I played these through instead of knowing who I was, knowing my values, knowing what I do like and what I don't like, and being able to shut it down as soon as I knew it wasn't possible for me to go through. But I didn't know how to say no. I didn't know. All my fears were coming up. I was scared of rejection. I was scared of me being myself and this person not liking me, so I would kiss up their butt, or I wouldn't say my mind. I wouldn't speak my whole mind on things, and I hid myself from this person. And it was, again, it's not their fault. I just had such a low confidence. I was ashamed. I was ashamed to think differently than someone I was in a relationship with. And just as I don't know why I would cower to them, because I never expected them to cower to me. If I found out that they were cowering to me, I would have been like, hey, you stand the fuck up. But it's like, I ended up being the one cowering, and I ended up the one not being able to speak my differences and realize it's okay. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, if this person realized, hey, I can't be with you, we have too many differences, it wouldn't have been my fault. It would have just been a chance thing, a mutual thing. Oh, well, no, you're right. That's true. We do have a lot of faults and disagreements on things that we should agree on. Maybe it is better we don't get in a relationship, and just leave it as that. Would have been able to clap and leave it as that. But in me not being able to even say, hey, we don't think alike on this, and instead me being like, oh, no, you're right. Like, I totally agree. I fucked myself over. And although it wasn't a very long-term relationship, it was still a good amount of time. And that I let it get that far, again, only brings disappointment within myself. And it kind of sucks because, I mean, a lot of, breakup and motivational quotes, they kind of like you to blame the other person or be like, you need to move on from them. They didn't accept your love. You deserve a lot better than them. And it's like, knowing that I look at things such a neutral way, it's like, there was some things wrong on their behalf. There was some things wrong on my behalf. It is what it is, thinking more neutrally and just positively, still respecting them and respecting me. It was like, I really cannot in any way, shape, or form truly point the finger at them when it instilled from me. It was, I didn't perceive myself well, and I reflected that onto them, and they do deserve better. I'm going to sit here and admit, as much as I hate to say this, like, they deserve someone who knows who they are, and they deserve someone who hopefully they can agree on the important matters that need to be agreed on to be in a relationship, period. And it's just like, it's sad to say that out loud, like, oh, well, they deserve someone that's not me, but it's the truth. And when you go through these bouts, like when people personally go through these bouts of self-love and putting your love back into yourself, you also tend to see that you should have never neglected yourself in the first place. I should have never neglected myself in the first place, because if I didn't, the relationship would have been a whole lot better. And who is that? Like, it is what it is. I can continue. And it's also like, then I'd get hypocritical if I started to beat myself up about it, because it's like, hello, you're supposed to be understanding yourself and forgiving yourself. You beating yourself up about you not being genuine with the person from the start, like, you're not getting anywhere. It's continuously bringing a cycle. And so it sucks. It's a hard truth to admit, but being able to say that out loud does bring a lot more peace of mind, knowing that that person does deserve a lot better than what I had to offer. And knowing that I love loudly, I know that I don't regret anybody I've loved. I don't ever, my love is never insincere or not genuine. I do move with tons of love and tons of meaningfulness behind it. It's just sometimes some people, it's too much for some people. And then that's where it comes back to, I need to respect myself and love myself to understand that it's not my fault that I love so hard. It's just that may not be somebody else's cup of tea. And I was so scared. Like, that was one of my fears. Like, it's sad to put that out loud. Like, that was one of my fears, was me not being somebody's cup of tea. But it's the truth. I wasn't that person's cup of tea. And I tried to be their cup of tea, and in that, I lost myself. And it's not like that person told me to be their cup of tea. I just wanted to seem lovable in their eyes. I wanted to seem the perfect match for them. And in an unhealthy way, that was unrealistic of me. That wasn't very good of me to do. And it just sucks, because the way the words I preach and the way I talk, it's like, what the fuck, you wouldn't think I would be the type of person to do some shit like that. But it's like, when you're so far gone and lost in who you are, shit like that doesn't come into account. You don't remember your values. You don't remember what you fight for. You don't remember what you think is okay and what isn't okay, because you don't know yourself. You don't love yourself. You don't trust yourself. All that's gone. So at the end of the day, I hurt myself the most out of all of that, because I knew if I loved myself, everything would have been a lot more different. But just as it's everyone's first time living, it's your first time living. And I need to be a lot more forgiving with myself. And being able to put these words out loud in something like a podcast where I can go back and listen to it really helps me establish my, I can hold myself more accountable, knowing that I've said this out loud and I became vulnerable, because it's not very easy to admit something like this. First of all, within myself, when I struggled pretty much we're in the 7th month of this year. Like, I've been struggling with this for 7 months. But then I look at myself internally and I'm like, oh, well, I also didn't have therapy. Oh, well, I've also had like a lot of at-home changes. Oh, well, my academic year got a lot more serious than it's ever been, and that plays a big role. Oh, well, I've also been changing physically and growing up, and it's like, where was me making these mistakes when I was a lot younger? It wasn't there, because I always felt like I had to be grown. I've always feel like I had to be mature. When I was a kid, I was always in these gifted classes, and I've always been told, oh, well, you're too mature for your age. You exceed academically more than a lot of people, and I was treated like an adult when I was a kid. I really was. And considering the traumas and shits I've been through, I went through all of that at a young age. So now that I'm the age where people usually start going through it, it's like I done went through every fucking bad scenario you could think of. I've been cheated on. I've been on and off relationships. I've been in long-term relationships. I've been in relationships where, I've been through it all. So it's like, what the fuck else could I go through that could fuck me over? And, this past breakup was like, oh, well, that was like the final thing. Like, that was the thing that made me realize that relationship had to teach me that I didn't love myself, and that I didn't trust myself as I used to. And that brings a lot of problems. That's not good. And look what the fuck happened because you weren't there. So is it a big slap in the face? Yeah. Does it suck? Yeah. I mean, in an odd way, it all comes back to learning about myself. And I lost a lot internally for me. I mean, in an odd way, I feel like I became a lot more immature. I became a lot more reactive. I didn't stop and think. My mind has been on an autopilot. I've been thinking and thinking and thinking and moving and moving and moving. I haven't given myself a break. I haven't let myself to stop and breathe and do all these slow moving hobbies that usually get me through the day. I've been constantly moving, constantly working, like just going at it, and I'm burnt out. I'm tired. I'm really, really fucking tired. And it's one of those tireds I've really never dealt with in my life. It's a rock bottom that when you look up, the points of the rocks are covering your view from above. I'm stuck. And I found myself having to look for help, and I've never done that. It was like that bad. I found myself actually asking somebody, I need help. I need your support. I really need a shoulder to lean on right now. I know I've been your shoulder for the longest, and I've been there, and I can be there again. It's not like I can't. It's just right now, I really need my boulder. I really need a shoulder to lean on. And I can help you still. It's not like I'm not helping you. It's just right now I need a little extra love. I need a little extra attention because I'm really going through it. And a big hard thing was just I didn't have the resources I used to. I was out of therapy. I, stopped going to the gym I usually go to. I mean, I was going through a lot of routine changes as well, and I haven't been able to adapt to a new routine. And people usually start picking up new routines like when school starts and stuff like that, so I'm kind of still waiting till then to pick up my routine. But I like to sleep early. These past fucking 9 months I've been up till 12, 1, and then going to work as if it doesn't affect me, or going through the next day as if I didn't just stay up for 5 hours and got 3 hours of sleep, and relying off of energy drinks. I've never in my fucking life done that. So it's like, now that this is the year I've played with my caffeine intake and I've played with my screen time hours, it's like, I don't want that becoming my routine. I don't. And knowing that one of my biggest issues was really being sure of what I want and what I don't want, it's hard. Because I do admire the people who know what they want and what they don't want. And my goal is just to get there. To be able to say, I know what I want and I know what I don't want. And stand on it. Not let anybody change my mind on it. But this was a bit of a longer episode. Choked up about 3 times. That's a new record. But it's just, in the end, this helps me keep on track. Like I like to say, this may end up, coming back later to bite me in the ass. Oh, didn't you, make a podcast, crying and, saying that you needed to heal? Yeah, I did. I was going through a rough patch, though. But look at where the fuck I am now. I hope I can say that in my future. Look where the fuck all these sad reposts I've been reposting, all these sad many quotes I've been resharing, all these sad podcast episodes I've been doing, and I can look back at it as if, yeah, that was a part of me. I had to go through those bricks and climb those bricks to build my higher self. And it's just like, I just can't wait to get there. This episode I've been able to really admit my fears. And I think just like a common fear that a lot of people my age have, I don't want to be alone. I don't want to be alone. And because I didn't want to be alone, I put myself in a lot of situations that if I was okay with being alone, I would have handled it differently. And it is a big having to switch my mentality. That is definitely a big thing that kind of comes into the way. But, having all these, thoughts that's like, oh, well, you fucking suck. You're the reason that, you're the relationship ended. You just weren't your fucking self from the beginning. And it's like, whoa, 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 whoa. I need to think back for me. I was going through shit. How could I have been myself? Should I have done better in voicing that, hey, I'm not myself, by the way, and I haven't been myself for a while, and I'm sorry that this version of me that isn't myself. But, surprise, I didn't have the strength to admit something like that. And now that I'm rebuilding my courage and my bravery and my resilience, I hope to get to a point where I can recognize when I'm not myself and be able to let others know, hey, I have not been myself. And I just cannot wait to have myself back. I cannot wait to just wake up one day and I just know that I'm back in my mentality that I've always had, and I've got the humor I've always had, and I can just wake up and move my day like I usually do. But I know that's going to take time, and I really hope to have you guys listen on my journey. And if not, I know that I will be reflecting and looking back at my journey. So with that, hope you guys enjoy this episode, and I'll see y'all later.